Dug ourselves a really deep hole in the first quarter. Just had to really fight hard to come back and did not have the energy to do so to finish it out in key moments. We have to learn and we have to keep getting better. We're a young team. I got full confidence in the group. They're learning how physical the SEC is. They're learning that no one is going to give it to us, and they're learning that every night that they have to fight.
Parrish?
Hey, Led, it looked like in addition to Missouri just shooting well, that they were able to beat you guys off the bounce and get high percentage shots. What was going into the defensive positioning there?
Yeah, I mean, they just out-toughed us. We didn't compete as hard as we should have. We didn't trust the defensive game plan initially. When we did start to trust the defensive game plan, we got stops, and then we just did not have energy to run around. In the second half, maybe I should have played more zone because I knew we were just gas. The game plan was for me to be able to play a lot of players. I did, but we didn't get much from them. And maybe because of the timing that I had to put them in, I'm still trying to figure out how to share the wealth with the group and find those combinations. So that's on me, trying to figure out how to balance them out so that players aren't playing such long stretches of time. Two of my starters played like a whole quarter. I just don't think we can be successful if I got to have two starters playing a whole quarter. Missouri is a tough matchup for us. They didn't have like a legit post. They had 5 players that could shoot the three. Really spread us out. And, if we see them again in the SEC tournament, it'll be a different approach defensively.
Nick?
We talked about running out of gas. Just what changed after y'all tied it up there in the third quarter, and what were they able to do to kind of extend the lead back?
Keep going, and we were done. I mean, I felt like the score was 29-21 in the first quarter, but it took a lot for us to get 21 points, and we were just depleted. And then 18-12 us in the second. And that's what I'm saying. Out of half, I'm still learning like my group. I'm still trying to give them opportunities. And so what I did was I gave some young people chances and probably should have done some stuff differently defensively to try to hide them in those situations to give the starters rest.
Chris Bolden.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the lack of energy. Do you think maybe some of that has to do with just coming off an intense rivalry game, Sunday, and maybe the players might just, legs were a little tired just coming off a game like that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you saw youth. You saw a group not ever playing Missouri. The people that started, they never played against Missouri. They don't know anything about Missouri. The SEC has a certain rhythm to it, and our players don't know rhythms yet. You get what I'm saying? And so this was a style that put us in a situation. If we didn't get it, if we had kept them to 12 in the first quarter, it would be a different game. But we didn't do that. We let them get 30 points in the first. I mean, we don't ever do that. All right, so that's a halftime score that we gave up, and we're not this high-powered offensive team. I mean, we scored 77 points, but we really had to work towards that. So just getting my group to understand, the pace and how we got to start and things that we have to do better from the jump, and I just don't think we did that, and And so, no, I don't think it had anything to do with our rivalry. I think it had us to do with a team that this is the first time we've ever played a team like this, where all 5 people on the floor could shoot the three. and they didn't trust the game plan. And then we started to show our youth. And then we fought, but we ran out of gas.
Michael?
Hey, Coach, you just mentioned that, Missouri's got 5 different players who can shoot the ball, and they haven't played in a while. Up until this game, they've got multiple players who can score double digits. When you were scouting the team, how did you go about keying in on certain players? Who were some of the players you figured you had a chance at stopping tonight, and how did you feel about how you did, at least in keying in on those players?
I didn't think about stopping anybody. I think about 15 points or less. That's our defensive game plan, and you can tell the whole world that. 15 points or less per quarter, all right? And we gave up 2 quarters worth in 1 quarter. So we don't play favorites. We want to stop everybody. And so our game plan was to push them out, not allow them to be able to see passes because we know they run around and run a bunch of cuts. And I just think we didn't do that. And it started from the beginning of the game, just not trusting. It's just the immaturity process for our team and something that we have to learn, So I don't want anybody to panic. Every night it's going to be a different puzzle piece, a different type of style. Georgia is totally different. They don't do all of that, So Georgia will be more a defensive matchup. But tonight, Missouri got the bout just because we dug ourselves a hole in the beginning.
Nick?
You think Maddie was just overexcited tonight with all the fouls coming back from her first game after missing a few?
I think this is Maddie's 6th game. I think people forget that because we're in conference. Because we're in conference, it doesn't mean like a regular conference season. She would have already played 13 games. This is her 6th game. So that's why I'm not panicking. This is our 6th game with Maddie. So it's COVID season. And COVID season is not good for inexperienced teams. COVID season is all about the experience. And their experienced players showed up and punched us right in the mouth. And now our biggest challenge for our next game is that we're getting ready to play a team full of experienced players. So I got to get these young pups to trust because the people that have experience are the coaches, and we give them a game plan. And so they have to follow the game plan or it's going to go left. And that's what happened in the first quarter.
Eric?
Coach, you kind of look on Missouri's side and see a player who's kind of had a similar journey to Maddie and Haley Frank, and she obviously had 21 in the second half tonight. Is that someone you can kind of look to, okay, this is what you need to do and how you can impact the game in the future? And what did you kind of see from Haley Frank tonight?
I want Maddie to be Madison Scott. Maddie is going to be in the running for Freshman of the Year. That's what I want Maddie to be. I can't even put Maddie and Haley in the same. Their game is totally different. As far as experience, maybe, I think Haley's a solid player. Anytime you have a post player that can shoot the 3, that works, and that works for their style. And we didn't take advantage of it. That's us learning player personnel, and this is what people can do, and that kind of stuff. And I swear we watch a bunch of film with them, and so everybody knew that Haley could shoot 3s. You wouldn't know it because we just didn't get matched up enough.
Any further questions for Coach? All right, thanks, y'all.
Thanks.